The van's tires crunched loudly on the icy path as Mystery Inc. arrived at the remote snow-covered mountains. The chilling atmosphere was amplified by the stark isolation of the region, where only a few scattered cabins dotted the landscape. A local villager, bundled against the cold, warned them of strange disappearances and sightings of a terrifying Yeti said to haunt the area. Shaggy and Scooby exchanged nervous glances, visibly uneasy, while Velma adjusted her glasses, determined to seek logical answers, and Daphne expressed her confidence in uncovering the truth. The team wasted no time and began their investigation near the edge of the forest. They found massive footprints embedded deep in the snow, leading into the dense wilderness. Velma crouched beside the tracks, carefully analyzing their size, depth, and pattern, concluding they belonged to something large and heavy. Meanwhile, Daphne spotted a torn piece of fur snagged on a nearby branch. The texture of the fur was coarse and unusual, simultaneously alarming and intriguing. Fred suggested they follow the trail deeper into the woods. Their next stop was a rustic lodge, where locals gathered to exchange stories. The innkeeper, a wiry man with shifty eyes, recounted old tales of a guardian Yeti that fiercely punished trespassers in sacred lands. His voice carried a mix of fear and reverence, adding weight to the legend. While Fred sketched out a plan of action, Scooby and Shaggy were distracted by the aroma wafting from the lodge's snack bar. Velma, however, remained focused, determined to piece together the origins of the lore and separate fact from fiction. While combing through a pile of old books in the lodge's dusty corner, Velma uncovered an ancient map. Its worn edges and faded markings hinted at a secret path leading to a forbidden zone high in the mountains. Intrigued, Fred suggested they use the map to guide their exploration. Shaggy, uneasy about venturing further into the wilderness, protested weakly. His concerns were overruled. Bundled against the biting cold, the group set out into the snow-covered terrain, their breath misting in the icy air. As they trudged through the forest, a sudden guttural roar echoed through the mountains, sending a shiver down their spines. The team froze, scanning their surroundings but saw nothing. Moments later, Daphne, who had ventured slightly ahead, found herself face to face with a massive, shadowy figure shrouded in the swirling blizzard. The creature's form was imposing, but before she could react, it vanished as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving behind fresh tracks. Daphne returned to the group, shaken but unharmed, recounting her eerie encounter. Fred decided it was time to set a trap. Using ropes and pulleys, he created an intricate setup designed to capture the creature. Meanwhile, Velma hypothesized that the Yeti sightings might be part of an elaborate hoax intended to scare away treasure hunters. Scooby and Shaggy were reluctantly assigned the role of bait, their complaints drowned out by the others' enthusiasm. In classic fashion, the duo accidentally stumbled into the trap themselves, triggering a comedic series of mishaps that temporarily derailed the team's progress. Following the Yeti's tracks deeper into the woods, the group stumbled upon an abandoned cabin. The dilapidated structure seemed untouched for years, but inside they found strange items: ropes, fake claws, and an old projector. The van's tires crunched loudly on the icy path as Mystery Inc. arrived at the remote, snow-covered mountains. The chilling atmosphere was amplified by the stark isolation of the region, where only a few scattered cabins dotted the landscape. The team decided to split up to cover more ground. Daphne ventured into a desolate canyon illuminated by the moonlight. As she navigated the narrow passage, the towering silhouette of the Yeti emerged, cornering her against the icy rock walls. Heart pounding, Daphne steadied herself, noting an unusual glint on the creature's fur. Her sharp observation planted seeds of doubt about its authenticity. Before she could call for help, the beast disappeared into the shadows, leaving Daphne unnerved but resolute to solve the mystery. Hearing Daphne's call, the rest of the team rushed to her aid. However, by the time they arrived, the creature had vanished completely. Velma spotted a small gadget on the ground, its intricate design reminiscent of the projector they had found earlier. The discovery strengthened her theory that the Yeti was an illusion created by advanced technology. Fred pieced together the clues, realizing the Yeti was using these devices to project its image across the rugged terrain, adding to the legend's mystique and fear. Using the ancient map as a guide, the team uncovered a hidden cave nestled within the mountains. Inside, they stumbled upon a hoard of gold and ancient artifacts, some clearly stolen. The cavern's setup revealed a smuggling operation cleverly disguised behind the Yeti legend. Velma deduced that the fabricated monster had been used to deter anyone from venturing too close and discovering the illegal activities. The pieces of the puzzle began to align, and the team braced for the confrontation they knew was imminent. The final showdown unfolded within the treasure-filled cave. Scooby and Shaggy, in their usual clumsy manner, accidentally triggered a series of traps. Their mishaps, however, worked in the group's favor, leading to the dramatic unmasking of the Yeti. The culprit turned out to be the innkeeper, whose darting eyes and cryptic warnings had concealed his ulterior motives. Furious at being exposed, he lashed out, but Fred quickly restrained him. The smuggler's scheme unraveled completely under Velma's logical deductions and evidence. The team pieced together the innkeeper's plan. He had used the Yeti legend, combined with sophisticated technology, to instill fear in the villagers while secretly transporting stolen relics through the mountains. Fred secured the criminal with ropes, while Velma documented their findings meticulously. Daphne gathered the treasures to hand over to the authorities. Though justice had prevailed, a lingering sense of unease hung over the group as they prepared to leave the cavern, wondering if the legend held any real basis. As they packed up, a low, guttural growl reverberated through the cave, freezing everyone in place. For a fleeting moment, they spotted what appeared to be a real Yeti lurking in the shadows. Its icy, glowing eyes locked onto them before it disappeared into the blizzard outside. Scooby yelped and clung to Shaggy, while Velma insisted it was merely a trick of the light. Daphne, however, remained uncertain, her instincts telling her that there might be more to the legend than they had uncovered. Back at the lodge, the team recounted their adventure over steaming cups of cocoa. Velma remained skeptical, reiterating her belief that the Yeti was a fabrication. However, Daphne and Scooby exchanged knowing glances, still haunted by the creature's final chilling appearance. Fred confidently declared the case closed, praising everyone's efforts. Meanwhile, Shaggy gave a heartfelt thanks to the Yeti for not eating them, his humor breaking the tension. The group's camaraderie remained intact, even as unanswered questions lingered. As dawn broke, Mystery Inc. drove off into the snowy landscape, the rising sun casting golden hues over the mountains. Velma glanced back at the peaks, her scientific mind conflicted for once. Could the Yeti truly exist, or was it merely the product of fear and clever deception? As the van disappeared into the horizon, a final echoing roar carried through the air, sending chills down the spines of anyone listening. The screen faded, leaving viewers questioning the fine line between myth and reality.